You're listening to the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Mike Green. Today, on this special episode of JX Arts, we're diving deep into the stage and sound landscape of the Rogue Valley. We'll shine a spotlight on the playwrights, directors, and technological music innovators making Southern Oregon a true creative powerhouse. Joining me in the studio to help navigate this creative voyage is JPR's own music manager, curator, and host of Open Air, our resident entertainment guide, Dave Jackson. Thanks for being here, Dave.
Good morning. Thanks, Mike.
And joining us in the studio is John Yunker, an award-winning author and playwright whose work has graced the stages across half a dozen states. His new environmental comedy, Species of Least Concern, just had a highly anticipated staged reading at the Playwrights Revolution in Sacramento. John, welcome to the Jefferson Exchange.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to be here.
Also joining us in the studio is Ness Hopkins. She's a visionary theater director, filmmaker, and the founder of The Human Stage, a nonprofit dedicated to bringing fresh, original theatrical works and community-driven art to life. Ness is the director and producer of Kids in Space, a musical odyssey, which is opening soon at the historic Ashland Armory on August 28th through the 30th. Ness, welcome to the Jefferson Exchange.
Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here.
Okay, so we're all here. John, I'm going to start with you. Your play, Species of Least Concern, was recently named a finalist at the Source Festival, and you just got back from that stage reading in Sacramento. Tell us about the play.
Well, the reason I'm here right now is the play is set here in Ashland, actually, and inspired by real and imagined events here in our area. And it deals with a number of things. Most notably would be conflicts or tensions between bikers and mountain bikers, which I didn't intend for it to capture the mood that we're in right now with Lithia Park, but it is something that is very acute in the play, as well as the plight of the Franklin bumblebee, which is a endemic bee to our region, which is critically endangered and may in fact be extinct, although we don't know that for sure yet.
Okay, so there's tension between bikers and who?
And environmentalists and hikers in the trails above Ashland.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and the play concerns this bee, and the main character, one of the main characters, is an entomologist, and he believes he has sighted this Franklin bumblebee, and it is alongside a mountain biking trail. And you can imagine how that might inflame his passions to protect the bee, keep mountain bikers away from this trail. And it drives the play. And I was, this was in Sacramento at Capitol Stage, where it was given its first stage reading. I was really impressed. So many of the theater goers down there are regulars in Ashland. They come up here for OSF every year, and so they knew the trails. Many of them have hiked and biked the trails. So it was a great reception.
So what was it like hearing your script performed in front of an audience?
It was surreal. The actors did an amazing job. Even though they're reading from scripts, they acted it out just like they're on stage, and it was great. I took a lot of notes. There's things I now know I need to tweak, but it was a great experience.
So beneath the humor and the mystery of the trail traps, there's a deep emotional current in your play. We learn that Wayne and his wife Nancy are deeply grieving the loss of their late daughter, and Wayne actually believes she speaks to him up on that mountain. How do you balance those heavy elements of personal grief and conservation with the lighter comedic notes?
Well, it's challenging, and the characters drive much of the humor. We have a very outspoken mountain biker, Brady, who gets injured on the trail. Someone set a trap. He believes it's Wayne, and you can imagine where that goes. And he's not happy, and the mountain bikers unite to fight back against these trail traps. And I don't know if anyone here remembers, there were traps actually set in the hills above Mount Ashland many years ago. It became quite an incident, or quite a mystery as to who was setting those traps. So that also inspired the play.
I actually remember one person in particular, and I happened to know him, but I'm not going to go on from there.
Please enlighten me. Why traps?
Well, I don't know the motivation exactly for why that person set the traps, but for me as a writer, it inspired me through this character to imagine someone who is devoted his life to a critically endangered species, and this species is potentially fading away. There could be one colony of this bee left on the planet, and what will that drive someone to do to try to protect this bee species? And to get to your point, Mike, about losing a child, the play is very much about loss and mourning. And how do you balance that with humor? Well, there's mountain bikes on stage. Hopefully, when it's produced, there will be that. That's one of the big challenges with the play. But there can be a lot of physical humor as well as humor between these characters.
Hey, that sounds very interesting. My guests are Ashland playwright John Yunker and theater director Ness Hopkins. JPR music director Dave Jackson is our entertainment guide here on JX Arts as well. Ness, let's transition from the quiet mountains of Ashland to the far reaches of the galaxy. Your play, Kids in Space, a musical odyssey, is blasting off at the historic Ashland Armory at the end of this month. Tell us about it.
Well, it's been quite an adventure. I originally in Portland had a theater school pre-COVID and was hired to do this play in Portland. And then he contacted me, Kevin Levy, who's the original writer and composer. And he contacted me about a year ago to do it, and I convinced him to do it here in Ashland because we have such an amazing pool of talent here. And so that's kind of how it started. And I have been working my tail off for the last 5 months putting this whole production together here. We have all local talent and locals working on it. And
so when you say local talent, Ashland has so many different varieties
Yes.
of the creative arts. Where did you find your talent?
Well, originally it was written for a younger cast, and I made a change. I said, I think we need to cast older, college level, not dealing with kids or families and all that, because that was extra work. And I thought, okay, well, we've got SOU here. We've got this wonderful theater department here. And so I knew Jackie Apodaca, and I said, Jackie, can you put this notice out? And I got a bunch of SOU theater students come to the auditions, and I practically cast that day. I had my cast that quickly. Yeah.
Really? How many are in the play?
There's 9 total. Yeah, so 5 are from SOU, and then we have some other local actors. One actor who is originally from LA, recently here, I cast him as our astronaut, Major Tom.
How do you when you're casting? How do you know? Do they have experience in the kinds of different characters, or how do you know?
Well, that's a great question. I really go by instinct because I've cast in so many different arenas. I've cast for film and TV and, of course, theater. I can usually tell, and I ask people too a little bit about them. I like to interview people a lot, find out about them. But it's an essence. There's something about the person that I can tell they can embody a certain role. Like, for instance, our Major Tom, I really was looking for that all-American kind of everyman stereotype kind of man, who is especially someone from the 50s and 60s, right?
Gotcha.
That whole era. And so I was looking around a lot for someone like that in town, and I finally found someone, and he just kind of embodied it already. So, and then they have an understanding also. Some of them, it's just acting. They have to really research the role and get into it, and so it takes a little longer.
Okay, so now tell us about the setting. And you, like John, you have something huge on stage. John has mountain bikes. You have a rocket.
A rocket. Oh my God. The rocket has been the hardest, one of the hardest parts. I've been talking to contractors months ago, 6 months ago, trying to plan ahead, like, how am I going to build this thing? Because it had to be light enough and yet look strong enough and be big enough to fit 6 kids, or adults rather, in it. And then I wanted it to be cut in half, so then I wanted it to be cut in thirds so it could be opened, because there's scenes that are written inside the rocket. So I had to figure out a way creatively, theatrically, to convey that they're inside.
You're creating
And
magic on stage.
uh, yeah, hopefully.
How are you doing this all by yourself? I mean, I
I
know
don't
you've got a
sleep.
crew, but how many hats do you wear?
Too many, way too many. It's been a valuable lesson for me, not to wear as many hats as I'm wearing now, because I have a lot of experience in designing sets and video, of course. So I'm doing all the video installation as well. And then I also started doing the costumes. So a lot of the costumes I'm doing, but then I finally got Brooke Sharp, who I've worked with in the past, to finish the costumes and really get them, because we have these cool spacesuits, because it's set in the 1980s. So there's a lot of, that era, David Bowie, Star Trek, Star Wars. So we're trying to keep that flavor, and the music also has that quality too.
So now you're
That's right.
talking music.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's got. I heard driving pop and glam rock score,
Yeah.
and because it's the early '80s, of course, and so you brought in a local musician and a music educator who I've talked to a couple times about his work at Travis Puntarelli. He's the musical director to collaborate on shaping the arrangements and the score. Tell us about his impact on the music and what folks can expect from that glam rock soundtrack.
Yeah, Travis is amazing. Travis is a very theatrical kind of folk rock quality to his work. So
He
he
does,
actually
yeah.
brought a little bit more of that into the sound. So Kevin Levy, who is the original composer of all the music, is a former musician all his life. So he's been in a lot of rock bands. So his quality to the songs was much more rock and a little bit more glam. And Travis actually brought in a softer element to it, which I think the kids actually like, because we have some amazing singers in the cast. And so the sound of their voices literally gives me chills sometimes, and even a little tear in my eye for some of the songs, because their voices are just so beautiful. So I think Travis worked really closely with a lot of them we have a lot of harmonizing as well. And it's just, sometimes the music is really ethereal. And so I think he was a wonderful balance with Kevin to kind of soften it. And then I'm actually experienced former singer, songwriter in my 20s. So I've been trying to bring a little more of the glam and the punk rock into it. So it's a very interesting mix of sound, I think.
That sounds
I think
great.
and the songs are very catchy. So we're going to encourage the audience to sing along for some of the songs as well, kind of all reminiscent of Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I actually directed at the Armory 10 years ago.
You know what? And that brings me to another point just before we have to leave. We've got about a minute left. I want to ask about the venue. The historic Ashland Armory is a beautiful historic place, but it's not a traditional theater.
No.
So how did you adapt your set design to turn this historic hall into basically a launching pad for a homemade spaceship?
Well, Mike, it has not been easy. But I managed the Armory a couple years ago, and prior to that, I was a part of a production company there, and I helped produce concerts and do shows. So I've had some experience with that space. That's why I decided to return. It is pretty ominous. It's a big space, and I'm still trying to figure it out 10 days before we open, how I'm going to do the video, all the lighting. We're just starting to build that in the space, because we haven't been physically in the space. We've been rehearsing at my studio, which I have a little creative studio in the Railroad District called the A. And it's a small space. And then we rehearsed at Levity, which is a bigger space. And so the kids have been really great adapting. It's also, the stage is pretty high up and far back. So I'm having a stage being built out to kind of create this runway. And then I'm directing it, so they're going to be moving in and out of the audience. So we're going to utilize the whole space. It's going to be a little bit more immersive.
Oh, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a short break. I'll be back with my entertainment guy, Dave Jackson, and our guests, John Yunker and Ness Hopkins. Welcome back to JX Arts on the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Mike Green. John just concluded a stage reading in Sacramento of his play, Species of Least Concern, and Ness will be directing her play, Kids in Space, a musical odyssey, opening at the historic Ashland Armory on August 28th through the 30th. Tickets and more information can be found at kidsinspace.com. That's kids with a Z. Now we have another guest joining us by phone. Dave, you want to make the introduction?
Yeah, joining us is Stephen Swift. He's the chair of the Creative Arts Department at Rogue Community College. And in his copious amounts of spare time, he's also a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. He's part of a group called Mountaintop Sound. They play throughout the region. They're playing tonight at the Common Block Brewery in Medford, in fact. And he's also produced several records for local artists. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'd like to talk about what you're doing at RCC. Give us just a little breakdown of kind of what you do there.
Yeah, right now I've been working as the chair there for the last few years, and we've been expanding our department. Arts and design was a little bit smaller during the COVID years, and now we're starting to blow up. And really kind of grow in a wonderful way. One of those ways is we're introducing a new degree this year that's called entertainment production. Oregon is such a hotbed for audio, video production, things like that, and of course the creative arts in general. But we didn't really have a community level and community education level, both college and community education version of that. As much. And so we wanted to start those beginning building blocks for people with that degree that we've started up this year. Like, for instance, one of the first classes I'll be teaching in fall is Intro to Podcasting. Mm-hmm. It's PRD 101, essentially, but it's like using audio in the correct way. You're learning the technical aspects of how to use a mic and how to get it into your computer and how to produce, good quality podcasts, things like that. Of course, we'll be adding video as well.
As much time as I spend talking into a microphone and doing things like that, I should probably take that class one of these days.
I'll take it with you.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a tech nerd in that way. But we also are adding into that degree a giant virtual production video wall, which is one aspect of filmmaking.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about that. So how did you guys, what is it, and how did you guys get it?
Yeah, so it's thanks to Perkins grants, because we are considered in design, especially the design side of the house and the digital media side of my department, we are considered CTE, so it's career and technical education. So thanks for that. There are some funds out there available for those sorts of things. We spent the last couple of years at RCC really building up our nursing and welding and transportation programs, mm-hmm. which are really just full on at this point.
Right.
And so they turned to me this year and said, hey, we haven't really done much for y'all in the last, this was a couple of years back. What do you want to do? And I said, can we expand the digital media side of the house? We've got art down pat. We've got some great fine arts teachers working with us.
Mm-hmm. Including your wife, is that?
Yes. Yeah. My partner also teaches there for us.
Yeah.
But we do have, we just hired a Melody Farr is her name. She's out of industry, and she worked with National Geographic, and she worked with DC, and she worked with CW doing all types of motion media graphics, things like that. She'll be teaching for us. And we'll be incorporating that wall. So that LED wall is part of just the equipment we've added, including something I think y'all would have fun coming out and checking out. We just finished building a full immersive Dolby Atmos surround sound teaching space.
Ooh.
So speakers in the ceiling, speakers all around you. It's better than your theater. Generally, theaters are, the bass is bumped up, right? Because they want to elicit anxiety, I think. This is more of a technical listening for accurate description of sound. And man, listening to jazz or classical music in that Dolby Atmos space is just killer. It's so much fun.
That's cool.
So yeah, and we'll be partnering actually with Dolby Atmos. They're going to list us as one of their educational spaces. So we're looking forward to it.
So quick question, Stephen, you talked about this LED as a wall. When you say a wall, give me a sense of the dimensions of this.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's really encouraging to me is we're not the only one to have one. I believe their name, there's a book publishing company in Ashland that actually just purchased one they're expanding their media production. Of course, they're for private use. They're not for educational use, but it encourages me because what it is, the one we have is about 21 foot wide by 15 feet tall, and it's over 5 million pixels, for an example. And it's really just, for me, I like to joke, it's just a glorified monitor. It's what you do with it that can be fun and can be magic. And I mean, virtual production isn't anything new. I mean, you go back to the 1940s and you've got, people pretending to be in cars as footage of the road drives past them, like in the old, at the beginning of talkies even. This is something that's been around for a long time. We're just taking it a step further, and with the new technologies you can. So for instance, we'll have a motion tracker on the camera that you can tell what the space we're working in, it works with these trackers that in such a way that when you move the camera, the background on the screen will move with it. And you can even incorporate, depth of field for the camera lens you're using and things like that, so that it all works in conjunction. So when there's an actor walking, I mean, on 21 feet wide, you could walk for a few seconds and deliver a couple lines of dialogue and seem like you never left the background.
Right. That's
just
amazing.
It's just got a lot of potential.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to JX Arts on the Jefferson Exchange. JPR Music Director Dave Jackson is our entertainment guide, and our guests are playwright John Yunker, director Ness Hopkins, and RCC music educator Stephen Swift. This leads to an interesting connection with our guests here in the studio.
Right.
Sure does.
Stephen, your digital cinema associate degree transfers seamlessly into the digital cinema program at SOU. And Ness,
Yes.
your
we
cast for Kids in Space came from SOU, the theater department, right?
Yeah, but not just that. I am incorporating video, and Stephen, I'm wondering if you can come and we can borrow your wall for our show, because I've been trying to do it on a low budget level and using just projectors, and it's been pretty challenging. But yeah, they're going to land on Mars in the second half. I'm giving this, the surprise away. And I do have video that I am using. It's mostly AI generated, obviously, because we don't have footage from other planets. But that is moving, and I was really envisioning that they would be walking through an alien landscape. And anyway, it would be great. You want to come over and help me do it?
Well, our wall is permanent, so they
okay. Darn.
It's installed and it's locked in. It was a big heft to put the power in for that even. To get that up and running, because we had to build an entirely new infrastructure around it. But we love it, and we'd love for them to come over and hang out and play in front of it. That's a lot of fun.
That sounds really fun. John, your play, Species of Least Concern, deals with the natural world, but it's also highly visual and cinematic. So as a playwright, do high-tech regional training pipelines like RCC's digital cinema and audio programs affect the way you write or the way you envision new plays? Or are you starting to write in multimedia capabilities?
I am. Yeah, and there's video in this play. There's the video from a GoPro camera that gets flashed behind the actors, because that plays a pivotal role in the play. And then also, I was talking to the artistic director at Capitol Stage because, I wrote it with mountain bikes on stage. Now, in a perfect world, there'd be mountain bikes, but, they were joking about how do you have to find equity mountain bikers, and they'd have to have ramps and special insurance. But we also talked about how do you do that with video and sound and to create the illusion of mountain bikers whizzing past the Wayne and other hikers. So I am all ears. So anything that can make this more producible, I'm eager to try it and see if it works. Although I'd still love a mountain bike on stage. I think it would be fun.
I've used bikes on stage before. When I did Rocky Horror, instead of the motorcycle, I got a really old beater, cruiser bike that looked like a motorcycle, and we just it worked great.
Oh, good.
And so OSF has used bikes as well recently.
And probably 40 years ago, I saw Grease at Brit, and Greased Lightning was an actual car. I think it was like a go-kart motor or something like that, but they had an actual car on the stage.
Well. Yeah, Back to the Future on Broadway. Have you heard about that? They brought the DeLorean.
Really?
And they do, Stephen, you might be interested that they've had this effect with the DeLorean that it is speeding through time through the video footage behind the car. It's pretty effective, I heard.
And there's something else, just to put a bug out there in your ear, I think it'd be really interesting. We also teach augmented reality as part of our department, which is you can use it through goggles, you can do it through a phone, but it's essentially putting 3D digital elements in real world space. And I know that there are some plays, I think Ian McKellen was in one recently where they used the technology to film the actors, and then when you watch the play, you watch it with special glasses on that actually place them in front of you, so it's such an intimate experience. That's something I've always thought would be really fun to incorporate into theater.
Yeah, without all the spinning.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, this isn't like it's more about placing it in an actual real world setting. It's just like wearing regular glasses, but it's sitting things on there instead of like your classic virtual reality, right? Which is just the goggles and you're on a roller coaster and hold on for dear life. But yeah, it's kind of fun. I think there's a lot of technological advances coming down the road.
Well, it's really incredible to hear how all these dots are connecting. We have John writing brilliant stories inspired by our local Ashland landscape. Ness is staging a massive galactic rock musical at the Historic Armory using SOU talent. And Stephen, you're building a Hollywood-grade technological foundation at RCC that funnels directly back into SOU and the region's entire industry. Let's talk about in our last 90 seconds or so the sustainability of our local creative economy. Ness, your press release mentions that you're looking for local patrons of the arts to help support taking kids in space on the road.
Yes, we're looking for support for Kids in Space investors because our intention has always been to have this be a touring show. And we're definitely going to do it in Portland next and Eugene, hopefully, and then we'll see. So, yeah. And also we're planning to make it into a film. So there's that as well.
Big plans.
Yeah. And then we've also been talking about a sequel that Kevin Levy and I will be writing together. This particular Kids in Space, I adapted his original script. So now we're going to do Kids in Time is the sequel.
Okay, well, you're going to need a lot of help.
Yes.
Sean, Species of Least Concern has traveled to Sacramento, but as an Ashland local, what are the next steps for this play?
Well, I want to do a stage reading here. Unfortunately, I can't kidnap the cast from down in Sacramento and bring them up here. So to Ness, I want to recruit also, get some young SOU actors because there's some younger roles to do a reading, perhaps at the library to start. Just make it free and so people can experience it and we can chat about some of these issues that we're all facing in our region.
Okay. And Stephen, for anyone listening real quick who wants to get their hands on that big giant LED wall or enroll in your new entertainment production program or even book a Zoom music lesson with you, what should they do?
Yeah, they can get a hold of me through my emails. I'm easy to find on the website there on Rogue Community College. We actually have a new website. And actually this week, We're doing a full open house, and on Thursday from 4 to 7 at the Table Rock campus, I will have the wall up and running and the surround sound space up and running as well to share with the community at large. So if anyone wants to come by and chat, they're welcome to stop by.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I want to thank all of our guests today, playwright John Yunker, director Ness Hopkins, and Stephen Swith on the phone from RCC. And of course, huge thanks to my co-host and entertainment guide, Dave Jackson.
Thanks,
you all.
Mike.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mike. Thanks, Dave.